Welcome to the Way to Go podcast. I'm Bill McMahon along with Eric Barfell, laughing as what you don't see as the show begins is us restarting shows. Usually there's always something happening like right before we start it, and we just always start laughing because we've already been laughing right before we started. But anyway, I wanted to talk this show about the reality versus social media, because social media is such a big part of our world. In some ways it is reality because we are involved in it. Mm-hmm. In real ways. We pick up our phone, we look at Facebook, or I don't look at Facebook that much, but Instagram. Some people would be into Twitter. Maybe they would be. What else would they be into? You got Facebook,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. You're a big YouTuber. You like YouTube, and you make YouTube videos and stuff like for biking and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, all that stuff is great and it's fun. But I think that my question is, what is real? You know, like if you have friends on Instagram that you've never met in person, are they really your friends? Now, some of them that I've heard would say yes. I mean, I just had somebody I've never met before, went to one of my friends that actually I know in person and said, hey, I'm friends with Bill, but we've never actually met. And I'm not saying we're not friends. I'm just saying it's a different world there. That's
virtual acquaintances.
Yes. It's kind of, so what do you think about that?
Some people have very different definitions of friends. You know, I knew a dude one summer, we were working together, and he was in the military. So I was like, I was telling him, I was like, I consider you a friend. He's like, well, slow down. Like you're not my friend unless I like served overseas with you. Like he was real particular on who's his friend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like obviously going through some sort of adversity together and like forming this brotherhood. Like those were his friends.
Right.
He might know you, you might know him. You're not his friend though.
Right.
And there was a distinct line drawn. It was like, oh, okay, well, you're my friend. I guess I'm not your friend, but things like that where other people, I mean, I would say like I have a ton of friends, whereas like if I've met you one time, I just consider you a friend.
Right. Well, I mean, how many friends do you have on Facebook? I mean, I have over 2,000 friends. I haven't looked at a while, but I couldn't tell you if it's 2,200, 2,400, 21. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a ton of them. I mean, I don't know them. At least with Instagram, it's very clear because Instagram mostly is people you don't know anyway.
Right.
Facebook seems to be mostly people who are somehow connected. They've met you at least once. They saw you at a funeral, at a wedding, at church.
Exactly.
So they're going to follow you and they just want to see what you're up to.
Some sort of mutual friend connection, networking. Yeah, definitely.
But again, I'm one of those people, Eric, I always ask about, I want to know what's real. I want to know what's true. That's what I want to find in this world. I want to find out what's true about God. I want to find out what's true about life. I want to know what's true. I don't want a bunch of baloney and nonsense. Yeah. Just give me the facts. Unfortunately, social media can be very much created. A created world, if you will.
I mean, a great deal of it. I feel like each platform is ever so slightly different. All very much the same, all very different. Because when it started, it was kind of like, I mean, we look at Facebook, it's just about connecting people you know, like people, real life people who you know or you've met, versus, you know, we branched out to TikTok, YouTube. It's more like entertainment. Who has the most entertaining videos? Who's really funny, really creative? Like, right. I can follow or subscribe to their channel, like follow along and all the stuff they create. I have no idea who they are. They have no idea who I am, kind of thing. But they made it look like a TV show. I'm a fan of this TV show. I watch this, but there's no connection with
Instagram's way more connected than TikTok.
Okay. Not on
way more.
TikTok. Proudly not on TikTok.
Yeah, no, TikTok is like exactly what you just described. This more entertainment.
Yeah.
You put a video on it. They like to see where you're hiking or see where you're kayaking or you're going to watch somebody do something hilarious. It seems more like that as opposed to talking. Like I don't see a lot of conversations happening there. Whereas the circles that I'm in on social media, there's a lot of conversations. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if I had, aside from being here talking to you or talking to Mark, things like that, my family, I would say social media wise or texting or any version of the phone, I talk more to people I don't know than what I do.
Yeah.
So would they, again, are they your friend or are they not? I would like to suggest that, yes, I mean, there's a way, sure, they would absolutely consider themselves my friend, but they're not going to be here if I'm in the hospital. They're not going to be the kind of friend that, hey, your wife's sick, I'm going to bring you dinner over. They're not, they live too far away. So that's an issue.
It's great, like emotional support.
Yeah, you don't know what their voice even sounds like.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
Yeah,
and yet you feel like a oddly deep connection with them in a way.
I think you definitely do. I think that's a fact. I'm not saying that fact is good. I'm saying the fact does exist. That there definitely is. Like there's a true bond. Like one group I work with, there's a deep bond. I mean, I just heard from the one telling the whole group, hey, here's how my checkup went. Hear from the other one, hey, my whatever relative's about to adopt someone at 1:30 today. And they're always talking about, hey, here's what I got going on in my life today. Here's what a project I'm working on today. So they'll just send messages in a group thread. There's a big group thread, and they'll just send pictures of what they're doing for the day. Not every day, but like weekends and Memorial Day, if something special is going on, you're probably going to hear about it at some point, or at least hear some of it. So yeah, I mean, there's a huge connection there because we're conversing with each other every single day because we're running this page together. So you're constantly, hey, I'm going to run this. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this, or I'm thinking about doing that. So yeah, it's always a super bond there between those people. We don't know each other.
Yeah. No,
and that frustrates me a little bit.
So in my pursuit of, I'm going to say this very lightly, growing a YouTube channel, it's all like niche cycling kind of stuff. But anyways, I found some other smaller channels and they have, we kind of converse with each other. Like I'll always comment on his videos and I give him tips or whatever. He's kind of like new into cycling and he'll do the same with me. And it's very interesting in that sense. Long story short, there's this like online virtual cycling race program that you can do. You set your bike up on the trainer and like you want your guy on the screen to ride faster, you pedal your bike faster and it's all hooked up, blah, blah, blah. And we'll like give each other tips and stuff, but like we're also the competition here. Like I'm competing against these guys and yet they're giving me tips. I'm giving them tips like, hey, you started your sprint way too early. You gotta wait a little bit, be more patient and then shoot it off. It just, I don't know, things like that. It's like, I found it to be very supportive. I'm not going to say I have like a deep connection with these guys, but like it's kind of fun to like have some like online banter with them as well, in support and encouragement. Like I enjoy that, but it's not like this isn't my community of guys around me or anything.
Right, but here's a question. Now, one question is it real? That's one question I have. Are people, friends we have on social media, real friends? Not talking are your real friends who are also your friends on social media. I'm saying people you've never met. The second question, are friends on social media replacing real friends? In other words, if you're putting a lot of time into online community, is it taking away from in-person community? And I would say for a lot of people, especially the younger and younger you get, absolutely. And even in my age group to a degree. So in other words, if I'm spending my time, if I'm going to conversate with somebody and I have X number of minutes to do that, and I'm going to choose to conversate with somebody that I've never met, as opposed to texting a friend in the county or somebody I haven't seen in a while. Mm-hmm. And now I'm losing track of the friends that I used to see all the time because, well, I don't really feel like I need them. And you don't feel like you need them maybe as much anymore, or you just have limited time, or they're not interested in what you're interested in perhaps. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, but yeah, I think there are. And one psychologist, Kenneth Gergens, 1991. Now in 1991, this guy writes a book called The Saturated Self. And he warned of an Orwellian world where technology might saturate human beings to the point of multiphrenia, a fragmented version of the self that is pulled in so many different directions, the individual would be lost. I am linked, therefore I am, he famously said, playing on Descartes. I think, therefore I am. Little did Gergen know how dead on his prediction would be. What about that? He's saying we're going to basically, I love the multiphrenia word. You are a multiphrenic. We can start spitting that out to people. You know what I'm saying? Just call them you multiphrenic. But just that we're going to be fragmented. And it says because as our society sits here more than 20 years later with our tablets and cell phones and electronic gadgets, seduced by the lure of the blue light glow, we have never been more linked, more connected, and more bound to a virtual reality that many of us can no longer live without.
I don't think it's entirely new. I think the idea of fragmented relationships, in a sense that so growing up in high school, I was in marching band. I had all my marching band friends. I had different smaller groups of friends per each class that I was in, my science class, my physics class, my English class, whatever. I had friends at my church, my youth group. I had different like realms of friends. I don't think it's
Real
almost like
friends.
it's almost like we've added that relationship kind of thing with social media and all virtual,
Okay.
whether we know them or like, for example, like, hey, I don't have a driver's license. I can't hang out with you or something, but like all the boys can like hop on Xbox and still be talking with each other and like playing the same
I'm not
video
saying
game.
it doesn't have a part or that it's impossible. I'm just suggesting that if we're spending more and more time there, maybe we're spending less and less time with other people. What if, going back to your band analogy, what you did was play your instrument in your own bedroom, everyone played their own instrument in their own bedroom, then you synced all the sounds together to make a band, but you were never really together.
Yeah.
Is not the same. That's what I'm saying. It's just not the same. And it's not the same if we are not, you know what I'm saying? If
And a lot of people did that in 2020.
Right, but if
Too many,
yeah,
actually.
that might be true. But you know what I'm saying? It's not the same. And if we're going to sit and kids or older people are going to sit on their couches all the time, and the only way they're ever going to connect is digitally, you're not going to see anyone face to face. I'm not sure that's the way that we were made. And it says in 1 Peter 1:22, now that you have purified yourself by obeying the truth, so that you have a sincere love for each other, love one another deeply from the heart. And to me, when I see that, I think of true community and togetherness and praying for people and helping people when the chips are down, face-to-face conversations, and everything that is a part of loving somebody deeply. Love them deeply. Love the people deeply. If I'm spending all my time in some virtual reality and not in the real reality where people need me, need to see me, I'm saying we might be swinging and missing here.
Oh yeah. You ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
I don't know.
It's from a few years ago. It's
I've
very
heard
much
it. I've
exactly
heard it.
this. The dude's living in this total virtual world. He falls in love with this other character, and his friend is like, you can't fall in love with them. That might be some 400-pound dude from Detroit. Like,
Right.
you have no idea who that is just based on their little sexy little avatar person. Like, what are you doing? Sure enough, it's like not at all. He does meet him, and it's like it's like this video game world.
Right.
It's honestly it's the metaverse.
Right.
People are buying real estate in the metaverse. Like,
Right.
what the heck?
Right.
Dude, we live on planet Earth. You're
We buy
buying,
Bitcoins, dude.
yeah, exactly. Virtual coin. Yeah,
Right.
no. I don't buy it.
You don't buy,
Bitcoins.
but other people
Proudly.
do. Well,
But,
here, I think there are pros and cons. I wrote down some pros of online community. At least there is community. I mean, that's one pro. Less chance, in other words, people you're connected with. I think that one attraction of to me for an Instagram is the people that you're connected with are people who have the same interests. A lot of these people are very much outdoors people, kayakers, similar interests, where a lot of times you may be in a church community, which is great, and you have the very important common interests of making disciples and serving and helping, but there may not be, I'm saying it tongue in cheek, but there may not be a hiker in the group.
Yeah,
there
sure,
might not
sure.
be a cyclist like for someone for you to hang around. So I mean, I like
Exactly.
it from that perspective. Less chance for problems because you actually don't meet these people. Less true knowledge. You know, you're going to see their best version all the time. It is fun. I will say that. It's connected, again, based on interest more than geography, so there's common ground. I think it's inspiring. I think one of my top things, it's inspiring. In other words, when I see people do things and I think, well, they can do it, I can do it. I've seen people go to places like Glacier Cave in Twinsburg. I never even heard of it. I saw it show up one day, and it's a really cool cave. And I went into there, and I got some great photographs and had a good time. And I've seen the same with Tinker's Creek Falls and all kinds of different places. I never even knew that existed, except for other people showed me. Or Z Falls, somebody writes me, hey, have you ever heard of Z Falls? No, where is it? Oh, here's how to get there. Jerry and I go track it down. I wouldn't have known, if it weren't for that community. I think for me, it's an outlet for humor, because anything to me is an outlet for humor, to be honest with you. But there are things, man, in written form, you can send some real zingers out there. And it's a great outlet for a photographer. I mean, those are my pros. Like, if you didn't have social media, what would I do with my pictures? Would I drag them around and have shows? What would you do with, hey, come look at my photo album.
Well, that's what people do.
Right.
That's what they started using Facebook for. They did years ago.
Right.
Whether it
all
was
my photo albums are
weekend
there,
trip, every picture they took, good or bad, just to get it off their digital camera, they unload it on Facebook, and it's like, this person just added 325 pictures. It's like, holy smokes!
Right.
People look through this? No, they just put it all.
But it's a good outlet for that.
Yeah.
Those are my pros.
Yeah. No, I have a brother-in-law. He's got a YouTube channel, and he uses it like a photo album, but all these videos he takes. So he just uploads like loads of little snippet videos. Just he's like, it's like a photo album, but it's all videos. He's like, I'm not trying to get a following. I'm just for my records. Like,
Right.
that's kind of cool in one sense. Like, I'm not opposed to that, but
Oh man, I'll put reels on Instagram, get 10,000 views every, like a lot of them.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
my grandma would always had her digital camera in hand. And I mean, she had photo album, like volumes of photo albums. It's unreal how many photo albums she
Like
has.
real photo albums.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. And it was kind of like, I mean, we poke fun at kids nowadays always on their phone. Like, this was my grandma on her digital camera.
Well, there's going to be a lot lost in history because there's not a paper copy. If you look around my office, I mean, there's photos all over from the old days because they didn't have a digital world.
Right.
They don't get lost because they're preserved on paper, framed. Now they're hanging in my office.
No, so what I'm saying is, like, my grandma, even on my birthday, she'll send me a birthday card and I'll have 5 or 6 pictures from years ago of me and grandma and grandpa and me and cousins. I'm like, this is kind of special.
Oh, it is actually.
Like,
yeah.
I hold on to those.
Yeah, throw that in a book and use it at least as a bookmark. I mean, so you get to see it once in a while. Cons of online community. You don't really know these people. Feels like something's missing. It's still not real, no matter what. It can actually put you in contact with people you have no business being in contact with. You know what I'm saying? There could be temptations there. There could be filters make things appear in a way that they're not. One that I read about yesterday is called FOMO. I never heard of it, but it's fear of missing out. I've read that a lot in the last couple of weeks, by the way, that term. Oh, yeah. People, the fear of missing out because they see, oh, why are you there? I didn't get invited there. Bullying, which is one you brought up to me talking to you the other day. Undue stress. I think that going on social media adds stress. I really do. I think because people fight, especially Facebook, Instagram, not so much, but you don't like what somebody said. Then you go down and the comments so ridiculous. Sometimes you feel like you have to say something now. Right. Rarely do I do that, but yeah. And then your blood pressure's up and what was the point of it? That's one thing I don't like about it. Too much information. I think it's a con. Yeah. Right. It's just like, do I really need to know everything about every one of your kids' birthday parties and no, put that. I'm not putting anyone down for that. You do what you want. I'm just saying sometimes if you see 20 of those in a scroll, it's like how much information, like news information.
I'm putting you down. I do not care.
Right. How much? I think too, there's less appreciation for privacy and just doing things for the sake of doing things rather than sharing them with other people. In other words, how much is done for the sake of I want to share it? How much is done just for the sake I want to do it? Like I don't mind sharing pictures if it's legit something I want to do. I never want to avoid being in a trap. Well, I have to get out because I need another photo. I want to go out because I want to go out. I'll take photos along the way. I'm a photographer anyway. I mean, I love being out taking pictures. It's a driving force for me. And it definitely has taken me to a lot of cool spots. But I don't want it just for that. I sometimes think to myself, like all Memorial Day weekend, I shared one patriotic Insta story of a coffee cup that had a picture of a ship or something on it. That's it. Like I didn't put anything up. I just felt like people don't need to know. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It doesn't matter if I'm hiking. It doesn't matter it just doesn't matter. You don't need to know. You don't have to share everything that you do. Right?
No, I felt the exact same way when Twitter first came out, and to my knowledge, the point is you can constantly be updating people on what you're doing right then, right there. And I was on it for like, I don't know, 2 weeks. And I was like, I don't care. My dog's making a funny noise. This homework is hard. I'm really hungry. I'm eating. It was like, I could not care less about this.
It probably killed Twitter in some ways from that perspective.
I heard it's different now. Great. I'm not going back.
Yes, Twitter is great to follow people. It's not you can't build a following there. I built a big following on one of my pages on Instagram. I just put up photos. I don't say a ton. I just put up photos. I share reels. People ask me questions about where I went, this and that and the other. I'll ask them questions. It's different than Twitter. My goodness, I could do all that on Twitter. No one would be paying one lick of attention. Yeah, right. It's just really tough. But anyway, here's what one professor of clinical psychology at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology said. And they feel like there's a clear and present danger here with social media. I definitely think social media has had a very deep impact in our lives. The world that we see on Facebook and other social media sites is not a true and real world. It's a creation of people. Among other dangers that Facebook might possibly pose in our lives, such as the lack of privacy, is the habit of always comparing ourselves to others. People, when they are happy, post a lot of happy things. But when I'm not happy, I will consciously or unconsciously compare myself to others. As a result, I create a world that is not a true world because I imagine that everybody is happy in the world except me. And that's not true. Okay. And I think there's some reality to that. They go on to say, be aware that a constant connection to your phone and social media is not good for your mental and physical health. Treat it the way you would candy or French fries. Don't gorge. That's good input, right? Being on your smartphones can drain the energy you could have spent engaging in real life interaction with your friends or family. Social media is never the prescription for staving off boredom, anxiety, or loneliness, right? Research shows that good friendships are vital to your health. More specifically, having close friendships correlates to functioning better, especially as we get older. So again, keep these things. Don't gorge. I think don't overdo the social media. It has its place. It can't replace real people.
Yeah.
I think we still need to value social connections. We still need to value loving people in the real world. That has to be what the goal is. And if we're missing out on that because we're stuck in some virtual reality that we've created, it's unwise.
Yeah, you have to own it. You cannot let it own you, for sure.
Right.
I think a lot of people just let it overtake them, let it consume every aspect of their life.
Because it's addictive, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
It is. For any one of us, it can be. For me, for anyone, I look at it. So this weekend, one of the whole points of me this last weekend not putting anything up was so I didn't really have anything to check. There's nothing for me to look at when I didn't, in fact, put anything up on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I just let it rest.
Yeah.
So then I'm out doing stuff with my family. I'm not really paying attention to it. And I thought that was a healthy way to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Healthier. So I think that we need breaks, we need boundaries and all things. And maybe the weekend would be good just to say, this is going away. Like I'm not just not going to post stuff. Is what I do is what I do. And you know what I mean? There's got to be some aspects of our lives that are just ours and ours alone, or ours and the people that we're with. And if you want to experience that cool thing that I did, then get your tail off your couch, and get out there with us. Right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Anyway. Hope that something we've said today has been helpful. Have a great week. Have an awesome week. And we'll catch you on the next podcast.